Vast aspirations fuel your mind. You can visualize your success with vivid clarity, so much so that it feels within your grasp. But when tomorrow dawns, you simply repeat the same cycle. You aren't alone in this struggle. Countless individuals fall into this specific trap, possessing grand ambitions but being paralyzed by lethargy. You are overflowing with potential, yet anchored in place. The most painful part is the internal awareness that you are meant for more. You simply cannot find the spark to ignite your movement. This isn't a character flaw or a lack of intellect. This is a matter of neurobiology. This is about deep-seated patterns within your brain that have solidified over time. Fortunately, anything that was constructed can be dismantled and rebuilt. To do that, however, you must grasp what is truly occurring beneath the surface. You must recognize why you've stagnated and then decide if you are genuinely prepared to disrupt the status quo. Consider your typical daily routine. You wake up with noble intentions, promising that today is the day of transformation. You vow to tackle that project or take that essential first step. But then, you reach for your phone. A few minutes of scrolling expands into an hour. Suddenly, the morning has vanished. You promise to begin after lunch. But once the meal passes, a wave of fatigue hits. Uninspired, you retreat once more, telling yourself you'll wait for a burst of energy tomorrow. The loop continues. At night, you lie awake under the weight of guilt. Disappointment settles in because you know another day has been surrendered to nothingness. You make more mental plans, feeling a fleeting surge of inspiration. But by sunrise, that motivation has evaporated. You return to the comfort of your screen, avoiding the very tasks that would change your life. This cycle may have persisted for months or even years, leading you to doubt if change is even possible. Here is the neurological reality. You are caught in a civil war between two parts of your brain. One side yearns for greatness and sets ambitious targets. The other side is desperate to avoid any form of discomfort. It craves security, ease, and a shield against the threat of failure or hard work. Currently, your craving for comfort is winning the battle. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's your brain's biological defense mechanism designed to seek pleasure and dodge pain. When you contemplate your goals, your brain perceives a threat. These distractions trigger a release of dopamine, providing immediate relief. Your brain learns that evasion feels good, so it continues to push you toward procrastination. This isn't laziness, it is survival mode. Your mind thinks it is keeping you safe. However, the cost is immense. While your brain protects you from short-term stress, it is sabotaging your long-term fulfillment. Every day you choose avoidance, you strengthen the habit of retreating. Every time you prioritize comfort over progress, you signal to your subconscious that your dreams are negotiable. This reinforces the toxic belief that you are incapable of change, creating a spiral that becomes increasingly difficult to exit. You likely believe the problem is a lack of willpower. You think successful people possess a hustle gene that you lack. You imagine that a sudden burst of motivation would solve everything. But motivation is a transient emotion. It is unreliable. You cannot build a legacy on a feeling. You need systems. You need to realize that discipline isn't an innate gift. It is a skill forged through repetitive, minor choices. Another obstacle is perfectionism. Your vision of success is so exacting that anything less than flawless feels like a defeat. So you wait for the right plan, the right mood, but the stars will never align perfectly. While you wait for a ready that never arrives, your life is slipping away. Realize that perfectionism is simply anxiety masquerading as high standards. It is a protective shield your brain uses to keep you from starting, because if you never begin, you can never be judged as a failure. You are likely terrified that if you truly give your all and fail, you'll have to accept that you aren't as capable as you hoped. It's easier to live in the fantasy of I could do it if I wanted to than to risk finding out otherwise. But remember, stagnation is the true enemy of success, not failure. Failure provides data and growth. Doing nothing provides nothing. Every person you admire has stumbled more than you have even attempted to walk. They started while they were still afraid. They built momentum through habit, not through mood. To break this cycle, you must accept that you will rarely feel like doing the hard work. Your brain is not wired to enjoy the initial struggle of a difficult task. You must act regardless of your emotional state. In fact, you must act precisely when you feel the most resistance. Each time you push through that discomfort, you are physically rewiring your neural pathways. You are teaching your mind that effort is not a threat. Start with something absurdly small. Don't attempt to overhaul your entire existence today. That is just perfectionism in a different mask. Choose one minor task, 15 minutes of focused work, one page of writing, or a single phone call. The magnitude doesn't matter, the execution does. Then repeat that victory tomorrow. Consistency is the architect of habit, and habits are the building blocks of a life. The secret is that the first few steps of discipline feel miserable. Your brain will scream for the path of least resistance. It will tell you that you are exhausted and deserve a break. You must learn to observe these thoughts without obeying them. Simultaneously, you must curate your environment. If your phone is within reach, you will use it. If your desk is a mess, your thoughts will be cluttered. This isn't just about willpower. It is about environmental design. Successful people don't fight temptation, they remove it. They engineer their surroundings to make the productive path the easiest path. Silence your alerts. Dedicate a specific block of time to deep work and guard it fiercely. By eliminating distractions, you preserve your cognitive energy for your actual goals rather than wasting it on resisting the urge to scroll. Furthermore, you must stop being a passive consumer of success's content. Watching videos on productivity or reading about others' achievements can feel like progress, but it is often just another sophisticated form of procrastination. Your brain is tricking you into thinking that learning is the same as doing. You don't need more information, you need execution. Accept that your initial work will be flawed. The first draft of anything is usually disappointing. That is a mandatory part of the journey. Every expert was once a clumsy beginner. You aren't aiming for greatness today, you are aiming for a beginning. Quality is a byproduct of repetition. Consistency must come first. As you begin to take action, expect resistance. Expect days where you stumble back into old ruts. That is not a signal to quit. It is a signal that you are human. Progress is non-linear. Successful people simply refuse to let a bad day turn into a bad week. They acknowledge the shame does not foster growth, it fosters further avoidance. When you fall short, treat yourself with the same grace you would offer a friend. Forgiveness is the permission to try again without the baggage of yesterday's mistakes. Remember, lazy is not. You are a person with immense latent potential and the capacity for total transformation. You have simply been stuck in a biological loop of comfort. Seeking now that you understand the mechanics of your stagnation, you hold the key to your escape. Ambition without execution is merely a daydream. A life is built on discipline and self-compassion, not on wishes. You need the grit to act when you are uninspired and the kindness to keep going when you fail. That balance is the secret to a lasting change. So stop consuming and start creating. Stop planning and start participating. That single action will prove to your brain that you are no longer the person who just dreams. With each consecutive day of effort, your momentum will become unstoppable. You've spent enough time imagining your future. Now go build it, not eventually, not when the time is right, but right now. Just start. And then, whatever happens, keep going. One choice at a time, that is how a legacy is born.